Good day. It's Althea from the Bible in 1 year. Today we spend time in Psalm 10, praying with confidence. There is a lot of things in the world that is not right, even wicked, and often it seems that nobody is doing anything about it. The wicked become more and more wicked. The psalmist in Psalm 10 lament for the wickedness, really taking it to heart, taking time to pray about it. At first, the psalmist is overwhelmed with the extent of the wicked. He discusses this with God, questioning God as to why this has been going on for so long. Why doesn't the Lord intervene, calling out, "Surely this is not right"? The psalmist recognizes the wrong according to Scripture. In prayer, he describes his wrong of the wicked in verse 2 to 4. The wicked are proudful, arrogant, boastful, and greedy. They pursue and persecute the afflicted. They curse, reject, and despise the Lord. They do not seek nor inquire the Lord. Psalm 27 verse 8 read, "Seek my face in prayer. Require my presence as your greatest need." The wicked say, "There is no God," because if there is no God, then there is also no accountability or punishment. Therefore, one can do as one pleases. It's a wicked thing to renounce God. It is a fact, a sinful thing. It is an expression of own independence, a perceived equality, or even a superiority to God. The psalmist then complains to God in verse 5 to 7 about how it is possible that all the wrong can prosper. He motivates this view by saying that God's judgment is out of his sight, so he never thinks about it. He will not be moved. Nothing bad will happen to me. In verse 8 to 10, the psalmist describes the way of the wicked. He lurks to seize the poor, to crush the helpless. The unfortunate fall by his mighty claws. The wicked say there is no God, and that he never thinks about God. This is not true, as in verse 11 the wicked says to him, "God has forgotten, he has hidden his face, he will never see my deed." The psalmist examines and exposes the wicked, praying that if God would act against their wickedness, they would change their ways. In the second half of the psalm, the psalmist turns his prayer to God, to what he knows is true, and he prays that with confidence. Confidence in God, knowing that even if we see things with our own eyes, it does not mean that God does not see, that God is not aware and not planning to act on this matter. Hebrews 4 verse 16 read, "Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of God, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." In verse 12 to 15, he laments for the poor, the suffering, the unfortunate. He sees the trouble, and although he is unable to change the circumstances, he takes time to fight for them in prayer. He prays, "Arise, O Lord, act, do not forget the humble. You, O Lord, are their helper." He continues to declare what he knows is true. The Lord is King forever and ever, and I have heard the desires of the humble and the oppressed. You will strengthen their heart. You will incline your ear to hear, to vindicate and obtain justice. Sometimes our words fall short to express deep emotions we feel. In verse 17 and 18, we see the promise that God strengthens the heart, and he hears even if it expresses with words that fell short. In John 5 verse 14 says, "This is a remarkable degree of confidence, which we as believers are entitled to have before him, that if we ask anything according to his will, that is consistent with His plan and purpose, He hears us. The promise is not to pray with lofty words. The purpose is to pray with confidence, confidence in God's ability, knowing and believing that He hears and that He is able and willing to act on your behalf. The psalmist's prayer starts with difficulties, questions, and concerns, but he ends with confidence.